Welcome to Smex Ed. Class is in session.
I'm your host, Amanda King, and I'm here to teach anybody who wants to fucking listen how to have the audacity to say fuck it to societal standards and live their most authentic life. This podcast is dedicated to bringing the sexual conversations we have behind doors onto the main fucking stage. Because sex, masturbation, squirting, guess what? It is all normal. And by bringing these conversations to the forefront, we help people feel less alone in this world. We help them feel safe. We help them gain their power back. We help them step into their confidence and express themselves sexually in this world unapologetically. Because it takes fucking audacity to be your truest self. And we have a boatloads of audacity all up in this bitch. So let me ask you this. Are you ready for some epic shit?
Discuss anal sex because it is considered one of the more taboo aspects of regular sex, which really steers people from one, not experimenting with it, or two, experimenting with it in an unsafe way with the wrong partner, which makes them hate anal sex the rest of their lives. And a lot of this is because of society's conditioning and society's miseducation on anal sex, because they never teach you anal sex in school when you are learning about health, and they need to. It needs to be something that is spoken about so that there are better experiences with it, and therefore everyone feels safe and secure in allowing themselves to experience pleasure on a different level that doesn't involve, obviously, your vagina or your penis, because it is a vessel of pleasure. So we're going to go over all of that right now. The reason anal sex is so taboo is because it doesn't cause procreation. And what I mean by that is society doesn't understand that anal sex is purely for pleasure. It doesn't feel that anal sex has a purpose because you are not procreating life from anal sex. And therefore, anybody who participates in anal sex is either gay and or a whore. And that is the story that gets pushed down the throats of so many people growing up and wanting to possibly experiment with anal sex. If you're a girl and you want anal sex, you're a fucking whore, you're loose, you are promiscuous, you are all of those things. If you are a gentleman who wants to participate in anal sex and or anal play or pegging or prostate massaging, it means something about your sexuality, right? It must mean that you're gay. And so this steers so many people away from trying it and or talking about it because they don't want to be condemned. And so this lack of talking about anal sex creates a lack of education around anal sex, which leads to two people participating in anal sex and doing all of the wrong things, which leads to one or both partners absolutely hating anal sex. So a few things before we dive into this. Number one, anal sex is your decision. Anal play is your decision. If you want to do it, great. If you don't want to do it, great. It is all up to you and your comfort level. So don't let people push or manipulate you or anything along those lines into doing something you don't want to do. Number two, if you do want to experiment with it, own it. Don't be shy about it. Don't be embarrassed about it. Don't feel like it means something about you. The only thing it means is that you want to experience pleasure at a different level, and that is your God-given right. If you have had bad past experiences with anal sex, don't let that dictate your belief system on it moving forward, because lack of communication, lubrication, going too fast, the idea that they're just jamming it in rather than taking it slow, all of these things can lead to injuries and a really terrible freaking time by each partner, if not one of them. And I hear horror stories, more specifically from women who are with partners who just take it too fast or they don't care and they just slam it in there and it makes them hate it. You should not feel any pain during anal play and or smex. You should have no bleeding, during anal play or anal smex. So if you are feeling pain or you are bleeding, you are going too fast, you are going too hard, you need to slow down because you will cause injury to your body. If you were thinking of experimenting with anal sex, you're going to stop and you're not going to have anal sex. And I know that that's probably going to upset so many people at first, right? Because you're gung-ho, you want to try anal. No, you need to slow down. You do not want to go from non-penetration in that area to full penetration depending on the size of your partner. That's way too much, way too fast, and that can cause injury and it can cause pain. And like we said, we do not want pain, we want pleasure. So you are going to first start participating in anal play. And anal play starts with non-penetrative playing of the anus. So what does this look like? This looks like using your fingers, your partner's tongue if they want to get involved, your partner's fingers, or a toy. And you are going to place it around the anus in circular motions, not penetrating. Why is non-penetrative play important? Because you have to prep your body to get used to the sensation of something being around your anus. Your anus is a muscle. If you are tense and you are nervous because you're afraid that it's going to hurt, or you're just nervous because it's your first time, and we all get nervous with our first time with anything, your body is going to clench like this. Your anus is going to clench. And you're going to try to stick something in there, and all you're going to get is this. Nothing's going to go, no matter how hard you push, no matter how hard you try, and you're going to hurt yourself. So we don't want that. We want to start with anal play, which means just prepping the area to get used to stimulation back there. Non-penetrative play, people. So important. Non-penetrative play. So taking your fingers, moving it around, your tongue, flicking it, taking a toy and working around the outer nerve endings, vibrating it just to get the feeling going back there. So you're going to practice non-penetrative anal play with you and your partner until you get used to the sensation back there. And this, everything I'm talking about, anal play, applies to like prostate play and massages as well. So this is both for men and women. So you want to get used to it. Once you start getting used to feeling of something there, and you are able to enjoy the sensation of something being there, and you want to move into penetration, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take one finger. Yes, one finger. You are going to take a lubricant with this finger. Now, what type of lube? It all depends. There are a lot of people who say oil-based lubricants are the best for penetrative play because they are the thickest. Some say water-based lubricants if they have sensitive skin issues. Silicone is great. You can use it for your finger, but once you move to toys, you might not be able to. So you're going to take lube. This is a water-based lube. It's what I had on hand. You're going to put it on your finger, at least a quarter size amount, and you're going to rub it all over your finger. Now, what you're going to do is you are going to start playing with your anus around the outside, and then you're going to insert your tip of your finger. Make sure your hands are washed. Make sure your nails are shortened. Now, this can be during solo play, which I highly suggest if you are going to participate in anal play to try it on yourself by yourself first, because you feel the safest with you. And that way, if anything happens that you would deem embarrassing, at least it's just with you and it's not with a partner. But if you want your partner to participate, lubrication of the finger. What you're going to do is you're just going to go about a third of the way in, and you're going to hold it there. And then you're going to slowly bring it out. And then you're going to go a third of the way in, and you're going to slowly bring it out. You're going to repeat this process 6 to 8 times. So you're a third of the way in. The next thing you're going to do is go halfway in. Same process. Keep going so that your body relaxes and is able to take a little bit more in. Process, you could do it 12 to 15 times. You could go here and stop. What you want to do is you want to pay attention to your body. Are you in pain? If you're in pain, stop immediately. Are you a little uncomfortable? That is going to be a little bit of a given. Remember, you're kind of putting something up, which is used to things coming out of it. So it may feel a little full. It may feel a little uncomfortable at first. This is why we're taking it real slow. So you do halfway, and then once you get comfortable, if you get comfortable, go the full finger. One fucking finger at first, guys. Not a whole fist, not 2, not 3, one finger. We start super slow. Now, if you're sitting here and you're being like, I'm not shoving my finger up my ass. Okay, I understand. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna go buy one of these. This is from Too Timid. This is a anal plug training kit, because what you are starting to do is you are starting to practice anal stretching. The anus is a muscle, which means it needs to be trained just like your biceps. You have to train muscle. You need to train it in order to be able to relax and accept something up it. Because remember, it's not used to that. So you want to get an anal kit. You want to find the very smallest one, right? These kits will vary in size and shape, and there'll be very subtle changes. So you see how small this one is. This is the next size up. It's just a little bit bigger. We want to start with the smallest one, and you want to make sure it has a base. Why does it need to have a base, Amanda? Because guess what? Your anus can suck things up. Bye. Yeah. If you do not have a toy with a base on it, your anus can fully take a toy in. So we always want types of toys that have some type of base to it. It can be a suction base, like this one, suction, so it's a little bit of hands-free play, or it can be anything that has a bottom base. You are going to do the exact same thing that I discussed with your finger with this toy. You are going to lubricate this toy. You are going to lubricate, which I forgot to mention, your anus and around your anus as well. And then you are going to go and you are going to train your anus. So you're going to start stretching it a little by just putting in this amount, pulling it out, going back in, pulling out, repeating this process up to 12 to 15 to 20 times, no matter how much you're comfortable. Now, once you fully can get the toy up there, you want to leave it in there for a few minutes or two, pull it out again. You don't want to be leaving it in there for a long duration at first, because you need your body to be ready for it and to be comfortable with it. So the first couple times you do this, probably first dozen times you start using these for anal stretching, you are going to be doing penetrating out, penetrating out, penetrating out, until you are fully comfortable to be able to leave it in there. You do not want to leave it in there for more than 15 to 20 minutes. Just an FYI for everybody. So once you are at this point where you can fully insert the toy, you have stretched your anus muscles out enough that every single time that you're starting to do this, you can do it fairly comfortably and you can get it up there super comfortably. Then, and only then, do you move up to the next size. And then you repeat the process again. A little bit in, a little bit out, a little bit in, a little bit out, until you can do all of them. Now, this process will take time and patience. And I say that with a smile, because some people get a little too gung-ho for anal sex. And once again, it leads to people not taking their time, pain, people not wanting to do it again. If you want to have anal sex where your partner enjoys it and actually loves it and wants to participate in it more often, then you need to follow this method. And you need to be patient as hell about it. So once you've gotten all of these toys, then you can move on to anal sex. Also, depending on what kit you get, the largest size will vary. I think that this one's probably about 4 inches. So you want to be able to take this one in, at least 4 inches in, before you have anal sex. Why? Because the average man is 5 to 6 inches. So even if you were trained for this and you have stretched your anus out enough to be able to insert this comfortably and take it out comfortably, your partner is probably 1 inch to 2 inches bigger than this, which means they are going to stretch you out a little bit more. Now, when we're saying stretch out, does that mean if I shove an 8-inch penis in my anus is going to be a gaping hole the rest of my life? Absolutely fucking not. Does it mean I will shit myself in the future? Absolutely not. Your anus is a muscle, meaning it can expand and retract. So when the toy comes out, your anus will retract and it will reform shape. I think that's the right word. Now, if you use a girthier toy, which we've spoken about before, sometimes when you pull the toy out, it may stay open a little bit. It will retract, give it time, right? It's because, think about it, you're pulling something that's quite large on it, your muscles need to go back. Also, when you are pulling out toys, pull them out you see how slow I'm doing this? This is what you should be doing, and pulling out anal toys from very slow. You do not want to be like this with an anal toy. You go like this, you increase the chance of injury, and you also increase the chance of making your body think you have to go to the bathroom, and you pull this out and other stuff comes out as well. So you've practiced anal training and anal stretching, and you are ready for anal sex. Let's have some realistic conversations about anal sex that someone should have told you if you don't know by now. You are having sex with the anus. What do we do from the anus? Yes, absolutely. Can accidents happen during anal sex? Yes, absolutely. Even if you douche, even if you prep, absolutely. They can. And you need to go in understanding that and being realistic about that so that you and your partner can communicate and neither of you can be embarrassed if something like that happens, because it is a possibility that it will happen. But we're all adults here, so we're going to discuss it and we're not going to shy away from it, because you need to know before you go in to have anal sex that could be a slight possibility. So let's discuss some of the prep work that needs to be done before anal sex, because it needs to be done. It should be done. And there's a massive misconception that you can go right from regular vaginal sex right into anal sex and everything's going to be okay. It's not. First, you shouldn't be going from vaginal sex into anal sex in one session. If you are doing anal sex, just do anal sex. If you're just participating in vaginal, just do vaginal. There is a lot of cross-contamination that can go on with bacteria if you are alternating between two. So focus on one. Now, the prep work. Number one, you want to have a bowel movement at least 30 to 60 minutes before an anal sex session. If that's cutting it close, at least the morning of. You want to have a bowel movement the day you have anal sex. Why? Because it will decrease the chances of having accidents. You want to avoid eating high fiber foods, anything that's going to, like greasy foods, anything that's going to upset your stomach, basically, if you are going to have anal sex that day. Think about why. Because if you have an upset stomach and then you have anal sex, it's increasing the chances of you having an accident. Now, before anal sex, you have had your bowel movement. You've ensured that you haven't eaten anything that's going to upset your stomach for at least probably 3 to 4 hours before a session. Now, the next question is to douche or not to douche, because there is a lot of, in a way, controversy over this topic in this community, because douching does clean out bacteria from your anus, but it also cleans out good bacteria. So to douche or not to douche is completely up to you and your partner, but it needs to be a conversation that you have with your partner and their comfort level as well. Before you have anal sex, you want to set the scene. And what I mean by that is ensure that you have the supplies that are needed during anal sex. So lubrication, towels, wipes, anything that if there is an accident, you both can take care of it in a sanitary and timely manner. So once again, no one is embarrassed. So you want to make sure those, if you're using condoms, you want to make sure that those are on hand. Now, lubrication, we spoke about this. Silicone, water-based, oil-based, it's really up to you. A lot of the anal sex community, if you read up on it, says oil-based lubricants are the best because they're the thickest. Water-based can sometimes irritate the lining of your anus, and then silicone, it depends. I mean, if you're doing anal sex, silicone is fine, but if you're using it during anal play, it can eat away at your toys. Most importantly, you need lots of lubrication. And spit is not lubrication. I don't give a fuck who says it's not enough. You want enough lubrication that you can glide in and out of the anus with literal minimal friction. use more than you think. If you're using a toy, they say that the toy should basically be slipping out of your hand. That's how lubricated it should be. Because if it's not lubricated enough and you push too much, you can cause tears in the anal cavity. You can cause a prolapsed anus, which is like a very rare thing to happen. But this is why we are talking about how to practice safe anal sex so that we don't run into any of that and everyone can have an enjoyable experience. But we need to talk about these things because they are things that could happen if you are rushing, if you are not educating yourself, and if you are not communicating. Communication is key with any sexual act, but definitely anal play and anal sex. If you're participating in solo play with toys, obviously you know your comfort level. But if you are having a partner participate or you are having anal sex, you have to be confident enough to communicate to your partner how you feel during the act. Meaning, if they are starting to insert themselves into you and you feel any pain, you say stop immediately. That hurts. Pull out, right? We are going in slow once again with the penis, or if you're using a toy, we go in slow. We are not going in like that. Absolutely not. You have to take your time with this. And as the receiver, you need to be able to communicate the whole time to your partner, talking them through. Go in a little bit further, back out. That feels good. That doesn't feel good. Like, you need to be able to communicate how you're feeling. If you cannot communicate, do not have anal sex. That's a hard fucking non-negotiable. If you cannot say to your partner that hurts, stop, or that feels good, you should not be participating in anal sex because communication is absolutely required during this. It's a requirement. So make sure that you are communicating with your partner the entire freaking time. Now, anal sex positions is something I guess we should talk about as well, because there are a few different positions you can try. It's not just being on all fours like you usually see in movies or TV, but that is a way to be able to do it if you are on all fours and your partner enters from behind you. But once again, communication is key because they are in control, which means they are deciding the strength of the thrust. So if they're in control, they need to communicate and you need to communicate as well. Another thing that I forgot to mention, as you are inserting either a toy or a penis, what you want to do with your anus is you actually want to push outwards like you're having a bowel movement, and people are like, oh my God, but you won't. Don't worry. You won't. Basically, what you're doing is you are relaxing those muscles, and when you push outward, it gives the toy and or his penis a easier pathway, and it opens the pathway to be able to kind of clench onto it. So you want to push out as they are pushing in. Another position that a lot of people don't think of is the standard missionary position. You can have anal sex that way as well. That might be a little bit easier for people because then you have face-to-face contact. You guys are right there. You can communicate it, but you can just spread your legs and have them come in that way. You can also ride his penis. So this is just as you would ride it with your vaginal canal, you can ride it with your anus. So you can do it sitting up, sitting with your back turned to them, whatever you're comfortable with. That gives you a little bit more control when you are literally coming down on the penis, so that you can decide the force and the quantity in which you are taking in. So those are a few positions you could try as well. After you have anal sex and you've cleaned up, go to the bathroom immediately. It's just like with vaginal sex, you need to wash out the bacteria that is in your body. Take a shower if you'd like. I even recommend, if you are going to participate in anal sex or anal play of any sort, taking a hot bath or a hot shower before you participate in the play. This is to, once again, relax your body. Other things that I suggest, especially if you are trying anal play with yourself during solo play, is to masturbate either with a clit stimulator, with your hand, with anything, gentlemen as well, with your hand. You want to stimulate that part of you so that it relaxes your back end, because if you're climaxing, your body is relaxing, making it easier for insertion and penetration. Buy a good toy cleaner if you are using toys. Sanitize them immediately after use. This is a foaming toy cleanser. I love this one, but I put it on there. You wash the toy, put it somewhere where it can dry, untouched, so that it doesn't get any like kind of contamination, and then put it away as soon as it is dry. And I think that is everything. I told you this was going to be long, but it's better that we talk about it and we educate each other with it so that we all feel less, I don't know, taboo about the subject, because this is what should have been taught to us in high school, especially for those who are a part of the LGBTQAI community. Like my friend's gay and he didn't find out any of this in high school. He had to go on the internet to find out how to have anal sex, and that's not right. And I know some of you may have just watched that entire thing and you're like, holy fucking shit, she overcomplicated the process. Or, oh my God, if we do it this way, we're going to be waiting a couple months before having anal sex. Yeah, you are, but you know what's going to happen? You're going to enjoy it. Yeah, a lot more than if you just jump into it. It is a slow process, but slow doesn't mean it can't be fun. Slow doesn't mean it can't be spicy. It doesn't mean that your partner can't participate in it, whether they are there in the room participating in it or whether you are sending them videos of you doing it. Like, it can be fun for everybody, and it is a slow process. But it's a process that's worth going through to ensure your safety, and of course, so you can experience the most pleasure possible when you do get to anal sex. And if you never get to anal sex and you just focus on play, that's fine too. I think that's it that I can think of off the top of my head. If you've watched all of this and you still have questions, feel free to snap me and ask away. I will do my best to help answer those for you. The douching, I forgot to mention, you can just douche with warm water, or you can go and get a saline based solution as well. If you have never douched before, the best way to do it is like standing in a tub, because you are inserting water up your ass, and so water is going to come back down. So you want to be in the shower or the tub. You should be douching almost immediately if you are before anal sex. I think that's it. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Thank you for being here with me on this Friday evening as we have sex ed class that we all should have received much longer ago. And always, y'all, pleasure is pleasure. Like, do not allow society to dictate what is right or wrong for your pleasure. As long as you feel safe, you are two consenting adults, then that's what matters. Experience it. Don't let anal sex or your participation in anal sex mean anything about you. Again, because it doesn't. It just means that you are open to exploring yourself, because we all deserve the right to explore ourselves, right? And there are too many of us that are exploring ourselves so much later in life because of all of this bullshit societal conditioning and feeling shame and guilt over something that you shouldn't feel shame or guilt over, because pleasure is joy and you deserve to feel joy. And for my overachievers who just listen to that entire story and think, I can take 6 inches right now. Don't. It's going to take time and it's going to take patience. But like I said, that's part of it. Enjoy that, because when you do anal stretching, it is enjoyable. You're going to feel what your body is capable of, and you're going to know that you're safe the entire time doing it, and that you're not going to cause any injury or any harm to your body. And so just slow down. That's my biggest piece of advice. Don't go too fast. Go slow, and then enjoy every second of it, because it's going to be fun. Thank you so much for listening to Smex Ed with Amanda.
And some parting words for you today. Remember this: no matter how hard society pushes you down, no matter how many times you fall, as long as you get the fuck back up, They can never stop you. You are unfuckable with. You will win. Don't allow this world to dictate how you show up in it. Don't allow society to make you bend the knee. Instead, make them bend theirs. And don't forget, if you like what you heard, go on to iTunes and Spotify and leave your girl a review. Until next time, my beautiful people.